happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the black kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!
Name your price on the burger. That's right.
Burger places are wheeling and dealing. 99-cent burgers, $2.99 combos. Are these great deals or just a great deal of fat? Fat is cheap. For a good deal without all the fat, come to Subway. Choose from 7 subs with 6 grams of fat or less. Add baked lays and a drink, and you have an entire meal with 8 fat grams or less.
Want to save $10 on your next trip to Cedar Point? Come to Subway and get a discount coupon when you buy a sub just filled with your favorite drink. Woohoo!
Subway, the way a sandwich should be.
We don't talk to him.
Cocaine Bear, awesome. Pleasure to have you on the show. Great.
I'm not Cocaine Bear. I'm his nephew, Nincompoop.
Oh, well, that's rude, first off.
I'm Soda Pop Bear.
So you're just addicted to sugar then?
Yes. Come from a long line of sugar-addicted, caffeine-addled cubs that turn into bears, and that's our thing. And Cocaine Bear, who used to be my uncle, yes, I'm his nephew.
Okay, well, I'm sorry you have to deal with all the fallout after this. Is there a lot of that after this movie that came out?
Well, the family hasn't really talked to him in over about 15 years anyway. So, like, I don't know. Like, more power to him. Like, he's not.
I'm sorry, I don't
he's
even
not
mean
with
to
us.
laugh.
Like,
That's my fault.
It was kind of like, oh, we don't care. So it's kind of like he didn't exist even when he was alive. So hey, it is what it is. Love him.
So
Not
you,
really. You know what I'm saying? Like he turned his back on our family and did that cocaine. I told him we some soda pop bears. All we do is drink Surge and Tab.
Yeah, we had a response from the gummy bears also that they were a little disappointed in just the negative feedback that everybody thinks now bears are just all into booger sugar, and they don't realize there's a face to this that is your face. And you know, from on behalf of everybody else in America, I'm sorry for your. Is he dead? Is your uncle still alive? Because you seem to really
Nah, he gone.
He gone. Okay, I'm rest in peace.
And fuck with them gummy bears talking about they some squares anyway. We stopped fucking with them back in the 70s.
Well, that's another episode, but do you have anything that you want to leave with the audience before we let you go? Sugar Bear or Pop Bear, Soda Pop Bear?
Man, yo, I want to tell my homeboy Sugar Chris, man, hold it down in there, man. I know they ain't got no love for us, man. You know what I'm saying? Winnie, you out there in Switzerland doing your thing. All right. I see you like them little pink toes. Okay. Yeah, man. And that's
it.
Bernstein.
Huh? Oh, okay.
105. Yeah, you already know.
That's what's up. Well, okay, Steve, you missed it, dude. Cocaine Bear's nephew just showed up.
Man, he was in town. He called me.
I know. He was in and out. He was a little agitated, obviously, because of that movie we were talking about. But sorry, he's coming back. He's got more to talk about. You know, there was a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, he had told me about it, man.
That's cool. Well, I didn't know you guys had a relationship, but that's cool.
Man, it's hard out here for these bears, man. I could relate.
I mean, once they get into that fucking blow-cane, that one, I mean, he really went for it. So, and his kids did too, if you watch the movie. Spoiler alert. I mean, there's kids consuming coke, human and bear. So it's a free-for-all back in the 80s, Steve.
Fun,
baby. That man turned his back on his family. People die every day, B.
Actually, if you watch that movie, the mom didn't turn her back on the family. It just the cocaine made her love him more. So it's actually
talking about the bears.
Message. Oh well, I'm talking about the
cocaine
too.
Bear.
You need to watch it, Steve, to know what I'm talking about. But let's bring it to the 90s and something we've talked about a lot. But I actually found a thrift store find again. This isn't Michael Bolton related this time, but I love OJ shit. I love just the everything going on with it. Just we've lived it. There's a lot of stories from that time. And I picked up Christopher Darden's memoir Contempt that was written in 96, so
Wow.
straight after the trial. And I got to say, I'm
Wow.
not even 20 pages into this beast. He is trashing everyone he can. He does it. There's no hesitation there, Steve. This you could
Just
call
lays
this
into
in
it. First round.
contempt in where like in the courtroom, but he has a lot of contempt for the people involved in that courtroom, and he doesn't hesitate to tell you about
Mm,
it. So
I'm
um,
certain. Chris
OJ
Darden
most of all. I
Manifesto.
mean, let's be honest, but I'll keep you posted. I'm gonna read it. Christopher Darden seems like a bad motherfucker in and of himself, and I'll let you know what I hear here, Steve. I'll let you know who else he has contempt for. The
Me.
justice system.
Please, please. Okay. You can be the good cop. Thank you. You, move away from the trunk. Please.
Who are you?
Price police.
Hi, you have a lovely home.
Look, she overpaid.
Overpaid.
You gotta go to Big Kmart. Low prices all the time, lowest sale prices every time. Guaranteed.
I didn't know.
I don't buy that.
I'll take you to lunch.
Big Kmart is a better way to say guaranteed.
You know, it's good cop, bad cop, not unbearably kind cop.
Well, hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Mad G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your King Griffey Jr.'s and your Kid and Play dance moves and tell me all I got to know. Don't, are you gonna go my way? All I got to know. People dating pussy, people dating pussy, people dating pussy, people dating pussy.
Dude.
That's what that song said to me. And you know another song whose audio was saying words to me? Ice Cube song called A Hand in the Bush or Two in the Bush, something, a bird in the hand, bird in the
Okay.
hand. It's my favorite Ice Cube song, despite me not knowing the title. But it's the song they play in Boys in the Hood every time the bad guys roll up on somebody, like when they roll up on Cuba Gooding, that's the song playing in their car. And like the song, the beat says Clarence, 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 Clarence. It's just like this ongoing, persistent, and it's saying Clarence. Who the fuck is Clarence?
It is funny whenever you've been saying a lyric, maybe for decades, and then you just realize one day that it's been wrong the whole time. Maybe you even question your sanity because you're like, how would I be so stupid to think that? But
Full House, the lyrics to that, I would like freestyle somewhere in there. There's this part where he's like, just around the bend. I pick up back at the bend. That part. Okay, we're free now. I've
you
seen
just
the
have to
light of
nail
these
the
words.
Scooby Doo ba ba. If you nail that, you're good. You just have to nail the
But you
landing, Steve.
But you know what part I'm talking about, though, right? It's somewhere towards the when we get to the light,
We're
to
lost out
to to the
there and you're
chorus.
all alone. Time is waiting to carry you home. It's before all that, right?
Before that,
Yeah, well, see, I'm so high
this shit
usually
would
that
have
I
you.
don't even clock that. I just come in where I know it, Steve. And to me, that's all that exists. So I live in that world. I love
And
a nice
today again,
scattle and babble, though, Steve. I mean, I miss that. There was a lot of the 90s theme songs, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but just I miss the scatting. Let's get back to that. Let's get some good theme songs now because it doesn't exist. I think
well,
they all died.
nobody watches TV anymore.
Hmm.
This was the last decade where people actually watched TV and
Well,
like plan their schedules, plan their lives around television. Um,
Scooby Doo Babu now, Steve. You are right.
P P T T T P P P. Today, my friend, we're talking about all things March 9th in the 90s. Starting off in 1990, Full House. Yes, we're back at the Tanner home again. They're airing the episode Honey, I Broke the House. Stephanie drives Joey's prized classic car into the house when she is left unsupervised. Man, these Tanner girls, they crazy.
You said that this was like a memorable episode. I don't remember this, but I once we get to the actual action, Steve, I gotta share a personal story because I nearly did this as a kid. So we'll get to it. But I don't remember this one. I'm sorry.
I remember it.
I get why you remember it because now I'll never forget. But
Well,
goddamn.
we start the episode off with Michelle playing t-ball with Joey, and she has no idea what she's doing. They got makeshift bases made out of paper plates, and she's going from first to third and third to second. And it's cute. And Joey's wearing a Detroit Red Wing jersey. And cue that classic theme song.
Miller Boy at finest, Steve. What's that guy's name? The producer. He's got a badass like rock net. Lenny Rips.
He was the writer.
Was that what it was? Okay, but it's still. I mean, that guy. Give him a job just from the name.
Well, the motherfucker be riffing. He's like,
Also happening after this. Look at that fucking Red Wings jersey though. Stevie Y. Who knows? Gordie Howe. Who knows? Steve. Probably Gordie Howe. Gibbler and fucking DJ are upstairs and they're listening to Walkman. I don't know if it's the same one. It's just got like a split, but they're listening to Blame It on the Rain, Steve. So, and we all were back then. We were all blaming it on the rain.
yeah. And not
Blame
knowing
it
that whole
on the
time,
rain, yeah.
we were all worked. We were all duped. Just like Steve Harvey's fucking lace wig, his lace front.
Dude, stop
Milli
calling
Vanilli.
fucking Steve Harvey's hair out. That guy's a powerful man, Steve. He can
He'll
hear
cancel
us.
me.
I'm from Cleveland now.
Steve Garrett, you're canceled.
I'm gonna kill you,
Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
Milli
well,
Vanilli had us.
I'm
And
scared. I
they're
have
doing
nothing
their
to
homework.
Steve Harvey, I have nothing to say about your hair. I think it's natural and I think it's beautiful. So I'm
Yeah,
on
he's
record.
bald now. But go Hio. And DJ and Kimmy, they're singing some Milli Vanilli and they're doing their homework. Steph, she comes in and she asks if anyone wants to play with her before she goes to dance class. 20 minutes now.
Yeah, I
Nobody's
got
paying
20.
attention to
It's
Yeah.
like, are you a fucking royalty? I have time, guys. Fill it, please. And she's getting passed around, Steve. Like just a loose cigarette.
She's the little
Gibbler,
sibling.
not even Gibbler wants to hang out. And you think she's starving for anybody to actually want to be around her, you know?
Well, they don't like each other.
Yeah, but still, you know, she wants to hang out. Gibbler and DJ don't want to. Stephanie goes downstairs. Danny, Becky are hanging out, looking over some paperwork for the show. Stephanie going about her the same thing. She's like, hey, I got 19 minutes now. Let's do this, guys. Rashes. Do you guys like a certain show? What are we doing tonight? What do you think about the universe? You know, she's asking a lot of dumb shit.
Somebody pay attention to me. I'm the middle child. I'm crazy. Ah.
But
Nobody
they
has
passed her
time for
off
that.
too. Even Danny, the sweet Danny daddy is, he's like, look, your fucking stories go nowhere. So work on it. Let's figure it out. Work the bits. Come back when you got something solid. So
Uncle Jesse doesn't have time. He's got bitches to fuck while his woman goes to work. And Becky, we find out she is going to meet Bo McIntyre. And she tells Uncle Jesse that he has no reason to be jealous. And then Danny, he chimes in, well, he's 30 years old. He's a neurosurgeon. He used to be a quarterback. He voted Bay Area's most eligible bachelor.
fucking Bo McIntyre, dude. Fuck that.
Bo
That just
McIntyre.
sounds like a cheesy dude. Bo McIntyre.
He's got a fucking powdered toast man chin. Fucking
Yeah.
hate you, Bo McIntyre, you son of a bitch.
He looks like
has
that
a crew
Army
cut.
Hammer guy that was like eating chicks or whatever. You know, like he's got one
He's
of
got a
those
ha-
lifestyles.
He's got a Howie Long, Chris Mullen. Fucking,
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Just a nice, like, dry hair like I got, but just flat top. Flat top, straw blonde. Little bit of product, Steve. Just enough.
Bo
Cleft
McIntyre.
chin. Yeah, fuck a Bo McIntyre, Becky. And Becky's like, look, he's got a 30-inch dick. But still, like, who wants that? And Jesse's like, Yeah, sure. I don't care. Bye. And back to Stephanie, she's again, nobody wants to hang out. Jesse hit the bricks. Everybody's also just criticizing her for just being long-winded, which I love. They're like, "You won't shut up. So go. Like get out of here. Go in the basement or something."
Yeah, you've been eating too much sugar cereals.
So finally she makes it outside to the back, and Joey he's not playing baseball with Michelle. He is somehow bought a cherry classic car, a Gremlin, if I'm not mistaken, Steve, which I believe is the same. Is that not what it was?
It's a 63 Rambler. Yeah.
Rambler. And I think that's
Yeah.
what Jill Taylor got eventually in Home Improvement, Steve, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they trade actors, they trade cars. And this thing was in well-kept condition. He's wiping this shit down like Boosie. And, you know, he's giving it some inspection and he notices that there's a nick. He's like, all right, I want my shit fresh everywhere. So he goes to the local hardware store to get some paint to cover it up. And in no time, as soon as Joey leaves the fucking scene, Stephanie hops in the fucking whip. Somehow, some way, for whatever reason, the keys are in the ignition. So
That's,
that
I mean, now we're reviewing it, that's fucked up, Steve. I mean, but still, I'm going to tell this story, but no, actually, so she starts fucking around because this is what little kids do. They want to get in a car, do what the adults do. She wants to listen to the radio, so it doesn't work. So she's like, turn the car on. She does. Freaks out a little bit, but she's like, okay, we're good. And then instead of just hitting the buttons on the radio, which I think she's probably seen people do hundreds of times at this point in her life, she actually just pulls the thing into gear, puts it in R for radio, which, okay, bitch. And obviously the car starts fucking going in reverse hard, backs up right into the fucking Tanner kitchen, Steve. Demolished it. They got a fucking nice open floor plan now. That's for sure.
You crazy kid.
And so pause this. Little Matt G, when he was a kid, Steve, in Pennsylvania, did this. Basically, I didn't hit the house, but I'll explain. I'm 5 or 6, or maybe even 4, old enough to be walking, communicating, and doing what I'm about to tell you. We live on a street that's not as busy as the street in Pet Cemetery with all the trucks on it, but it's a high traffic street normally. There's a lot of cars, neighborhood, and there's actually a lot of like business trucks and like bigger trucks because we live in that part of Pennsylvania anyway, and it's like a 45-mile-per-hour road. And I am in the truck. My dad and I are about to go someplace. My dad has to go to the bathroom real quick. So he leaves me in the truck, does not leave the keys in the truck, Steve. And I don't understand this, but bear with me. I believe this is how it happened. He goes in. We have an incline on the driveway. It's not big. I do what Stephanie's doing. I'm playing driver. I'm driving the car. I pull the shit into neutral. So it doesn't back up hard. It's not on. But somehow without the keys, I pulled that car into neutral, right? And it just starts backing down this incline slowly. My dad going to the bathroom. My mom, Sonia G, Steve, you know what she looks like, does a 4-3-40 out of the house, down the steps to the truck. This is like a little pickup truck. And is like, Matthew, fucking slow-mos it, catches the truck, holds it. A neighbor lady runs down her driveway, gets in the truck, puts it into park, and they saved my life because I was like going into the road, Steve. But my
Why
mom,
the fuck would you do that?
I was a little kid. I was just fucking around with shit in the car. You know, if you pull the one that for the windshield, nothing happens. And this car, it wasn't on. So I pulled it into neutral and dude,
I got you.
pulled a Stephanie, bro. It's that easy.
Oh, I did the same thing. Around the same age, we were going to church, and for whatever reason, my grandma, I guess she forgot something in the house, and she left the car on, but I was trying to drive. I I
Oh my
ended up
God, Steve.
yeah,
No.
there was an empty field across the street, and I went in the reverse like Stephanie, and ended up backing into it. Luckily, nothing got harmed. The car didn't get like fucked up or anything. But yeah, I got a whooping, and we still went to church. Uh,
Oh yeah.
but back to
Stephanie
Full House.
though, she's done about a solid 50 G's worth of damage to the house, to the structure. They might need to demolish the whole area of the house to fix this. She gets out of the car basically in shock. She's in her kitchen now, out of the car, debris everywhere, but nobody's there, Steve. Nobody runs to this crazy noise. Apparently the
Yeah,
Walkmen that DJ and the Gibbler were listening to are up so loud they didn't hear this or feel the crazy shit that would happen if you jammed a car into a house.
they have the beats by the pound.
I
Beats by the
mean,
Dre, shit. Beats by the fucking pound. Like, okay, you got Walkman on, but there should be some kind of like physical movement of the house that you
yeah,
like a
hell
mini
yeah.
quake, maybe
If somebody slams a door hard, you feel it, bro. Like,
the vibrations.
And here's where I was like almost in my head saying this could have been tragic. It didn't happen when she was like, thank God Michelle wasn't in the kitchen. But so
Thank
Stephanie's
God.
in the debris field. She's clocking it, trying, maybe thinking of a lie to tell. And she's like, okay, nobody's here. Then Michelle walks in and thank again, like she could have been just been killed, you know?
You got it, dude.
And it didn't happen. But Michelle's like, there's a car in the kitchen. And Stephanie's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, yeah, but like, it's crazy, right? I was just checking this out too. Like, she tries to play it off, I feel
It
like.
was wild. You know what I'm saying? And cars, you hear about the cars just like flying in the kitchens, man? It's
Yeah.
just like a new thing, Michelle. I'd flip it like that. She's,
Yeah.
she's like toddler age. So like, yeah, they'll take whatever and roll with it.
But Stephanie's like, did you see who did this? And Michelle's like, no. And, obviously we all, even Michelle, she was born pretty much yesterday, but not that soon. She still
She's shocked.
understands.
She
And,
she lets birds out of the cage in kindergarten class, but she's still shocked.
yeah. And then finally, DJ and Gibbler come in. And I mean, they are. Wait, no, I don't think they do. Basically, I think Stephanie goes upstairs and packs her bags while they're still
Yeah.
upstairs. So, and
They
then
go
she's acting all
upstairs, yeah.
mopey and like, they're like, why are you packing a bag? And she makes up some excuse because she was supposed to go to like a dance class. But
Yeah.
she's like, hey, DJ, just wanted to say, love you. Gonna miss you. But she doesn't say
Saying-
that, but it's basically that vibe.
She says her final goodbyes to her sisters, and Michelle actually alerts Kimmy and DJ about the car, and they're like, "Get out of here, Michelle! You're tripping, little girl."
Yeah, and stuff. He's like, that's crazy. Isn't she funny? I gotta go though. I gotta go to my dance class. So,
Yeah.
peace out, guys. Nothing's going on downstairs. So just figure it out. Hang out here. I'll see you later.
And possibly the funniest part of this episode is that when DJ and Kimmy finally come downstairs, they see the car in the kitchen. They ask Michelle, "Do you know how the car got in here?" Michelle says, "Through the window."
So now these kids have to figure it out. And I forget, I'm trying to get to the part in my notes. So, yeah, so they walk in, they see the disaster zone, and then Jesse comes in and he has like groceries and he's like, that's obscuring his vision. So he comes in that like back door that's in the kitchen by the basement stairs. And he basically just walks into the car and is like, wait, this isn't a table. That feels like maybe a Rambler fender. What is
Yeah.
that? And
It was like an automobile.
yeah. And he throws like a have mercy out there, I think. And I mean, there's some shit going on because I'd be concerned. Maybe there's some dead. Where's Joey at? Like, what the fuck's going on here?
Are there dead bodies under this Rambler?
Yeah. And he's sort of clocking it. Everybody's still kind of in shock. Then Danny comes home and he's coming in the front door. So he's in the living room, doesn't know what's going on. He's like, family, dad's home, let's hang out. And everyone's like, oh shit.
They
and
try to
they
run
come.
interference.
Yeah. And Jesse's like, "Hey, man, uh, what's up? How you doing, bud?" And
We
Danny's
got a
like, "What's going on? Why are
surprise
you guys
for you.
acting weird? Did I
Yeah,
fart?"
yeah. And Danny's like, "Are you doing a special thing for me?" Oh my, that melts my heart.
Yeah. Hell
That
yeah.
just, is this like another Father's Day kind of deal? Oh, thank
Finally,
you.
you guys are getting it. Reward me. That's awesome. So, what is this like a fancy dinner? Let me check it out. And I do like this is also hilarious. DJ is like man on the spot here. She's got a camera ready to go. She goes, gets it, and she's like waiting for the reaction shot. So Danny walks into the kitchen expecting a surprise, and a surprise he gets because it's not necessarily dinner, a special dinner. It's a new opening in his kitchen. I don't know what to call it, Steve.
A garage door.
Yeah.
And before it even gets to that point, Michelle spills the beans. Like he's like, "There's a car in your kitchen, Dad."
And DJ's keeps snapping photos. I would have slapped the camera out of her hand, just like, bitch, I gotta have to pay for this shit. Was this you? I'd be in like full fucking Christopher Darden mode where I'm like, where the fuck were you at? Where were you? Who is responsible for this?
I feel
Somebody
like
will die right now.
dude, this episode is like full maximum power TGIF 90s ish shit. Because the little girl, and I get it, she's a little girl, she's innocent. She ran a fucking car into the kitchen. And we'll talk about Danny Tanner's response, his reaction, and like the whole family's response and reaction to all of this shit. Like, there's what you just described was reality. And I feel like that's why us kids gravitated towards these type of shows because there's no fucking way in hell. If that were to happen, let's say things got way worse with that little pickup truck. Do you think George Leroy, do you think he'd sit you on his lap and give you a good old Miller Boy Ed speech?
Dude, I there would be wooden spoons snapped in half just for days, Steve. I mean, I remember after that because, nothing happened. My mom caught the truck, she stopped it. It eventually just became a funny story that we told as a family. But at that moment, my mom was like weeping because she was
Of
like
course.
picturing what could have happened.
What
I
could
get
have
pulled out
happened?
of the truck, and it was more. Here was the reaction, like, "Do you know what could have happened?" And I'm sitting there like, "I just wanted to drive the car." There was no. Let's.
And you didn't,
You
yeah.
knew this was wrong, and I understand you're curious, but there was none of that at all. It was, do you know what the fuck could have happened if this would have went, and you're just a kid. So, I get it. Stephanie, though, here's my thing. I did have the inclination to run away at some point. This bitch is ready to go through with it in San Fran, Steve. This is
In
not
San
a good
Fran.
place at all. That's crazy.
Man, Oakland's not too far around, and man, you don't want to be
Yeah,
Stephanie
dude.
Tanner by yourself.
Like, does she have like a pole with like a little knapsack on the end of it ready to go? I don't know, but we cut from all this, like the disaster zone, to Becky's, her nice little pad, and she's looking good. But Stephanie comes to say her goodbyes to Becky too, which, polite kid. I would not. And I'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, aunt, uncles, you're not going to get this. But she goes to say her goodbye, and Becky's like, what's going on here? Like, you're
Well,
saying goodbye. What?
well, Stephanie's going to move to Mexico and start a new life as a Mexican hat dancer.
Which makes sense. I mean, and I get that. But Becky's like, let's talk. And she gets to the bottom of it. But Stephanie's like, and they're talking, but then there's a knock on the door and it's Uncle Jesse. So Stephanie is like, Becky, you don't say a fucking word. I'm going in their closet. Don't tell him, please. And Becky plays along, which I really don't get that. I'm pretty sure she would
still doesn't
eventually
know.
say something, but she doesn't, Steve. She's a soldier.
Yeah, man. And like, so she hides in the closet, and Jesse, he's trying to maintain his gal. So he come in there with roses and shit, and, trying to woo his woman. And he sees a suitcase. She's trying to get him the fuck out of there. he sees a suitcase on his way out, and he hears rambling in the closet, if I'm not mistaken, right?
He hears like a noise, but I mean, really, what he see the
Yeah.
suitcase is enough because he's just like comes over there because he's insecure and he's like, look, I don't, and he even tells her that. And then as he's leaving, he sees that and he's like, wait, suitcase, who the fuck's here? And then
Is
I
it
think he
that
just
bow?
hears like a little something in the closet. So he goes, he opens the door. Steve, there's nobody in the closet. Or at least that was what we think. But then on the door, we see that Stephanie's somehow, I mean, just bodied herself up into the coat. She's hanging. She's just fully camouflaged up.
And that's what I remember from this episode. Like I feel like they might have done this in a clip show. It just it stands out to me. It's like, she's a kid and she's hung up in the coat. Kid, she can't touch the floor because she's a kid.
Shout out though, because that takes a lot of upper body strength, and she did manage to get herself into that coat. So Stephanie, she's ready to go. She thought she had it, but Jesse sees her, and now he's hip to what's going on. Uh, I think he obviously knew about the car anyway, and he's like, "Look, like we got to take you home, kid. Like you can't run away." He throws a
Look,
little Uncle Jesse knowledge at her, a little good like uncle lesson.
like I've been in trouble a lot, and I was doing bad adult things that I'm not really gonna tell you about until you turn maybe 18, 21. So like, and so this shit, it wasn't good. It wasn't good, but hey, you need to come back home because then like your dad's gonna be worried. He might kill himself, jump off a Golden Gate Bridge, things of that nature. So you care about your dad, right? All right, kid, let's come clean. Come home with me.
Face your problems. That's how you overcome, Stephanie. And that's the Uncle Jesse lesson for this week, Steve. Face your fears. It's like that Mortal Kombat lesson at the end. And Stephanie, she's walking that green mile now because this is what I've gone through this experience so many times as a child where the ass whooping's coming, Steve. The punishment's coming and you're just having to wait it out. Like for me, it would always be something happened at school where I mouthed off and it got back to my mom. And then I'd have to wait for my dad to get home, which was like 2 hours later, knowing as soon as he got home, there's some action that's going to happen. I don't know what it is. My parents were great, but I wasn't immune to getting a wooden spoon to the ass. Let's put it like that, Steve.
And before and Stephanie return home, Joey, he returns home and he finds out the news beforehand. And Danny, he tries to check him because immediately he's accusing Joey because it's his car. And Joey, he's like, man, what are you tripping about, man? Is it because I took the last ice cube and didn't refill the tray?
Yeah, and I mean, not even clocking that his car's destroyed. As somebody that just has to live in this house, this is where I'm almost like I got to move out, Danny, because I might have to just whoop that kid's ass. I'm sorry. I'm a guy who does puppetry. There's only so many times I'm going to be able to afford a car. So, what are we doing here, bud?
Me and Woody the Woodchuck, man, we're gonna have to hit the road, man. It's been real, but I can't.
Yeah, but finally Danny's like, yeah, what the fuck, dude? And he leads him into the kitchen and Joey has to face the fact his car is basically, I don't know if it's totaled, but it's something's going on there. This has happened. And he's like, dude, I didn't do this. You think I just walk away from this shit? And then Stephanie comes in with Joey because they're like, who did this? Like who would know who knows what happened here? And Jesse brings Stephanie in and is like, I think I have somebody that knows, and leads Stephanie in and she cops to it. And like you said, dude, I mean, even the reaction of Joey, he almost is more like blameful of himself for leaving the keys in the car and leaving Stephanie unattended by the car. He's not like, are you fucking kidding me? You did this? He's like, oh man, I fucked up.
I shouldn't have left the keys in the ignition. Yeah, you shouldn't have, because they're like, why? Like, why would you do that? Like, kid in the car or not? Just why?
Yeah, I mean, speaking as somebody who really in his life hasn't had a lot of opportunity to have new cars, when I do have a new car, especially right when I get it, every precaution is taken, Steve. The keys are taken out. I'm making sure the car is locked. maybe too many times, especially in San Francisco. There's a lot of fucking crazy shit going on there, even back in the 90s. So, um, but he, while is angry at Stephanie, everybody's like, how the fuck could you do this? She's hard on herself. And eventually is sent up to her room to basically face the judgment from Danny. Um, and we get up to the room, and Danny straight up, I love this because this is straight 90s parenting. He straight up tells her, he's like, this is the stupidest thing you've ever done, kid.
It could have been worse. You could have got hurt. Somebody else could have got hurt.
Yeah,
This is
Michelle could
probably
have
the
been Pet
most heated.
Cemetery, just like Miko Hughes in that fucking movie. You could have backed up over her ass.
This is probably the limit of Danny Tanner getting like red.
Yeah, but he reads her rights and he's like, what if, like, what do you, like, what am I supposed to do here? And Stephanie's so guilty that she's giving up herself and suggesting punishments.
She
She's
tried
like
to kill herself.
begging,
Like she tried to do some like mini suicide shit.
yeah, and she eventually, like, she goes through options of things she can do to like prostrate herself in front of the family as like penance for this. And finally, she's like, "And you never have to kiss me or hug me again." And that's what like snaps Danny out of it. And he's like, "Fuck, yeah, I'm pissed off, but I am going to love you no matter how bad you fuck up." So, I'm never gonna want to not hug and kiss you. Pause. It sounds weird when I say it, but you get it, Steve. It's a family thing. It's a family affair.
It's a full house.
Nah, nah, nah. And that's it, Steve. I mean, she gets grounded for sure.
Of
But
course.
Danny's he's a TV anchor, Steve, so he can eat these charges. He's gonna put a nice like what are those like nice bay area or bay windows. He's gonna put a nice like new fixture in that kitchen. So she just gave him the opportunity to remodel his kitchen.
He can get a new wall. Joey can get a new car, but you could never get another Stephanie Tanner.
Shout
Judy's
out.
too sweet.
What if you like I'm discussing with Kendra going to a couple of conventions with some 90s celebrities and actually paying the money to meet them. I feel like Stephanie Tanner, Jodie Sweetin. I feel like that'd be a good get, Steve. Just like a nice pick with Jodie Sweetin. She really, she's gone through a lot, but she is a beautiful chick now. She really grew up well.
That cocaine didn't hit her that hard yet, because I see.
I see you, Jody. Little Jody Joe.
Fun fact about this episode. So one of the songs Kimmy and DJ were listening to is straight up, "Now tell me, do you really want to love me forever?" At this time, Uncle Jesse, John Stamos, was dating Paula Abdul.
Damn Stamos.
Because
Through
of
the
course he was.
decades, Steve. Through well, who has a better list? I mean, there really isn't, like, as far as just like heavy hitters, he was just running through Hollywood like, I'm done with you. Hey, Paula Abdul. Fucking flip the hair back a little bit, that Greek just intensity. I love it, Stamos. Get it.
And say what you will, Rebecca Romaine, not a bad main to have.
Mystique, fucking hottie. Shout out Mystique, Rebecca Romaine. Who else, Steve? Let's just run through Stamos's fucking roster real quick. Paula Abdul, that's a good get. People don't respect that. And she parties too. I bet that was a great time in the 80s or 90s, whenever that was.
That is a prized head on the mantle.
Yeah, dude. Damn. John Stamos, just living the life that all men want to lead. So thank you. And I wish I could somehow like John Malkovich myself into Stamos's noggin and just really absorb all that, just even the memories,
For a day. Just give me a day.
Yeah. Not even that, Steve. I don't think I could even take it. Give me 3 good hours and just let me feel what it's like just to live like that. Because he walks through life with, is there a care in the world, do you think? Does he care about, like, when I'm saying care, like, does he stress? Is Stamos stressing about anything?
I think he stressed when Bob Saget passed.
Okay. Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think he stressed when Aunt Becky went to jail because he was busy fucking these hoes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now he's trying to like get numbers in while he can. Cause I feel like now we're getting close to the age where no white man at least can get there and stay beautiful that long. You know, even the George Clooney's, even the Harrison Fords, they start falling apart.
McConaughey, man, he's got it figured out though, man.
It's weed. I'm telling
Ladies
you,
still
dude.
love him.
I'm telling you, it's weed, Steve. Look at Snoop Dogg. How old's he?
Ladies,
175?
ladies still love him.
Fucking look at Willie. Willie's alive, okay? And he might not look great now, but he's like 1,000 years old, Steve. So that's the tribute to weed.
And there's also Viagra, so he's still in the game. Make sure he just doesn't die. But also in 1990, Bad Influence premiered in theaters. A soft and hesitant young man is in danger when he tries to break toxic relationships with a mysterious stranger claiming to be his friend. Directed by Curtis Hanson, starring Rob Lowe and James Spader.
Bad Influence. Do you know what sex is? I'm James Spader. Do you know what
Have you seen this?
sexuality is? No, hell no. James Spader was in a lot of like sexual movies in the 90s though. Sex Lies and Videotape, obviously. And that movie was just, I gotta say, really one of those movies that's frustrating to watch as a little kid who's just trying to see a boobie. It didn't deliver in the sex part. There was a lot of lies and Videotape, light on the sex.
I'm guessing James Spader was a dweeb in that as well.
Yeah, and this was the Spader, like in the Stargate James Spader, where he had glasses and like sort of like that, you know, that 90s like longer hair, like Boy Meets World older brother. Just, you know.
Eric.
Yeah. James Spader played like a sexy expert in a lot of things in the 90s. You know, he had like wire glasses he'd pulled off so he could like mug to the camera. But shout out James Spader, who probably was also putting up some legendary numbers that we're just unaware of because it's probably more creepy sex, you know?
Yeah. And there it is, Bad Influence. Also in 1990, Coupe de Ville premieres. Three bickering brothers who don't get along reluctantly go on a cross-country road trip together to deliver a car in time for their mother's birthday. Directed by Joe Roth, starring Patrick Dempsey, Daniel Stern, and Alan Arkin.
I mean, if the fact that Daniel Stern's in it kind of makes me want to watch this. And then look at James Spader. I called it. Wire glasses, 90s hair.
Yeah. Yeah, I pulled that too late.
Yeah, it's okay. I like it. Bad Influence. Look at fucking Rob Lowe's cheesy ass, though. I love that.
He looks like he's in the Fremont crew.
Oh yeah, dude. I would not want to hang out with that whoever he represents
He
from
was a
Fremont.
part of that off the friend of the friend of the friend. He was that guy that would be at the like, nah, it's something about you, bro. Stay the fuck over there on that side of the road.
He's the one that gets in like the really violent fight that you don't see, but you see like the guy afterwards. Are like, what the fuck happened to that dude?
He had 4 felonies by 15. He's always, dude, I don't know what happened, bro. Like all of a sudden, man, like they picked on me. The cops came and they picked me out of everybody.
Dude.
Like, dude, every time that's the story. Like really,
he shows
bro?
up bloody with
Dude,
like where's your car, dude? Dude, I crashed it in a ditch. What? It's like, wait, is that a handcuff on your wrist? Like, dude, just chill out, man. It's fine.
That's when I got to talk to hey man, I know like they're your boy, like he can't be here.
Yeah, get him away from my shit, please. You know, he can hang out in Cardi's room. That's cool, but other than that,
yeah. Then so yeah, Coupe de Ville, Poop de Ville. Also in 1990, House Party premieres. Kid decides to go to his friend's Play's house party. But neither of them can predict what's in store for them on what could be the wildest night of their lives. Directed by Reginald Hudling, starring Kid and Play, Full Force, and late great Robin Harris, R.I.P.
Yeah, and we were talking about watching this, and maybe we should have, but I feel like, you know, this wasn't one of the biggest movies in my world. I didn't watch House Party a lot. I know it's a huge like reference for us and for like comedy in the 90s, but it wasn't my thing, Steve. Is Martin in this?
Martin was in this. So like Tisha Campbell and Martin, like they knew each other prior to the iconic show Martin, man. This was like a cast, maybe a cast gathering. and you can see AJ Johnson, aka Baby Boy's mother, who will forever be fine,
Yeah, dude.
always and
In
forever.
Baby Boy too, dude. I mean, not even because you get to see her get power fucked in it. She just her body, the stomach, especially that stomach for an older lady. Not even an older lady. I shouldn't say that. Let's not even put an age on it. It doesn't matter. It's fantastic.
AJ Johnson, thank you. The good Lord took it's his, her, them, they. It's time with the AJ Johnson. And she's a fitness trainer for celebrities.
I mean, well, the proof is right there. There's no resume needed. You're fit. I can tell you've been doing it for a while. And even in, dude, I hate to bring it back to Baby Boy again, but her just sitting in that garden smoking cigarettes, just looking great.
And
AJ
like,
Johnson.
even if it wasn't your thing, it was a thing, and it was New Line Cinema, I believe, man. You know, this was kind of the startup years, right before, because Ninja Turtles came out this same month with New Line Cinema, I believe. And,
Killing it.
you know, it got Martin in the limelight. This introduced the world to Kid and Play, because they started off as backup dancers for Salt and Pepper in the 80s. And people were already who, if you went to the show, you were familiar with their act, the little kick step and their whole routine, man. It was live. And, you know, bringing this to film, it showed the world.
And I mean, this led to other stuff. They had cartoons. I mean, they became like a big ass
Cartoons.
fucking thing because of this. And this isn't a bad movie. It's
It's
funny.
not.
And I think it actually inspired a lot of stuff because I think, like, even remember, like, the beginning of that one Snoop Dogg video, he was kind of like shouting this out a little bit when he was getting ready for the party and shit. I mean, he has a house party in that one video. So, um, I love it. I love Kid and Play. I love that we get to see a young Martin and Gina just like about to just collide and make magic. So
Yeah.
this is something huge in the 90s. Very cool.
And it's because of this movie that Kid and Play became household names, because as you said, it led to the cartoons and other sponsorships, man. And our boy John Witherspoon, RIP, he's in this. And he and Robin Harris, they improvised most of their lines, man, which led to some comical shit. Man, you better not ever commit a crime. All they got to do is follow the drip, follow the drip. And the guy he was cracking on is AJ Johnson, who played Ezel. So there's two AJ Johnsons, one man and one female. AJ Johnson is the guy, he passed away, RIP, man. He was Ezel, he was in Players Club, and a lot
Damn,
of
AJ
like,
Johnson passed away?
he passed away in 2020 or 2021. Yeah.
Damn, he was a funny fight. Him in Players Club, dude, he was fucking hilarious.
And something I didn't know, this scene at the house of the house party was shot at Play's actual house in Los Angeles.
Damn, that's smart. Save a lot of money. It's probably how they made the movie. Damn, New Line Cinema was. I mean, people. It's like on history. It's like noted. They were killing it so much in the 90s. Freddy
And
Krueger, this, all the comedies. They were about to
it's,
make Friday, I believe. Didn't weren't they invested in? Did they make
if I'm not mistaken,
Ninja
man. And
Turtles? Fuck, dude.
you mentioned Freddy Krueger. So initially, it was supposed to be DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, due to a contract dispute that they had with New Line Cinema because of their song on their. It's called uh, "Nightmare on My Street,"
I
and
remember that
they
song, dude. My baby, this is weird, but my babysitter's kids had that tape for some reason. I think it had "Summertime" on it too, if I'm not mistaken, but maybe not.
I'm not. I don't think so. This
Maybe
was
they just had
prior.
some shit, but I remember listening to them around the same time. But there was a why, and I think Freddy Krueger like featured in the song.
And New Line Cinema, they won the lawsuit against them. And there is a stipulation that they had to appear in a New Line Cinema film. And when the director, Reginald Hudlin, took over, he refused to cast them in the movie. And I think that was for the better, man, because I love DJ Jeff and the Fresh Prince, man, but Kid and Play, the chemistry was already like, I mean, Jeff and Fresh Prince, they have the chemistry, but like, I just think it wouldn't have been better.
They got their time in the sun too. Like this, they got shine. Kid and Play got shine off this, and I mean, basically that made this made their career. You know,
It,
DJ Jazzy Jeff and Will Smith, they're gonna get like plenty of opportunity after Fresh Prince. I mean, especially Will
Yeah.
Smith, obviously, but um, I don't like. I think they got this. Not maybe also because of that legal shit, but like these guys clearly, Kid and Play, I'm talking about, do have like a real chemistry that does come through, and it's not like shitty hacky acting or anything. It's like natural, I guess is the
And
best word.
this dance scene is so iconic, man. Kid and Play, this was their thing. That this is their signature or one of their signature dance steps, man.
Oh
This
yeah.
is a cult classic, man, and this is also highlighting the golden age of hip hop when it was about fun. And as much as I love hip hop, it is what it is, man. The hip hop movies later in the decade, it had drugs, it had sex, and it had violence, and it's about like gangster shit, and it's entertaining, but like this represented a certain era, man, that's special for people who experienced it.
Party time, Steve. Fucking just hanging out.
In good times. And also in 1990, Joe versus the Volcano premieres. When a hypochondriac learns that he is dying, he accepts an offer to throw himself in a volcano at a tropical island, and along the way there, learns to truly live. Directed by John Patrick Shanley, starring Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan, Lloyd Bridges, Robert Stack, Abe Vigoda, Dan Hedaya, Barry McGovern, and Ossie Davis.
This is a good one, Steve. Joe versus. This is another one that it's unsung. I think it's a kind of forgotten now, but Joe versus the Volcano, love it. And a weird premise.
When was the last time you saw it?
I mean decades, but I remember
I saw
liking
it.
it. You know.
I saw it as a kid, and I remember liking it because it was different. It was like had fantasy setting, whatever. I saw it over the week as a 39-year-old, and I got to tell you,
Not
I
good.
almost went to sleep.
It's not the Burbs or so. It just doesn't hold up, huh?
And I love you, Tommy. You're always my boy.
Hey man, you got to, some of these things. It's just the tempo. It's like if you watch some of those '70s movies, there's like 10 minutes where there's no dialogue. It's slow. We can't do that now. So some of the shit just doesn't translate. But Tommy, you nailed it so many times. We can forgive it.
You can't hit him out the park every time.
Hell
Maybe a
yeah.
double, maybe a blooper. And like, shout out to Meg Ryan. She played 3 different roles in this movie, getting her Eddie Murphy on.
Hell yeah. Meg Ryan. She was a little sexy little thing back in the day. You Got Mail. Remember that movie? Was that Meg Ryan?
And Tom Hanks.
There you go. This is just a match made in heaven, Steve. It's like Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore.
But what about Abe Vigoda though, man? Like they talk about 6 degrees of separation with Kevin Bacon. I feel like Abe Vigoda has been in like just about anything, and if he wasn't, he can be connected easily to the people who were.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially if it was some sort of Goomba Italian movie. He was in it. I mean, the dude was in
Who
Godfather, so
he was so
as soon as he was in that, they were like, "Get him, get him. He looks like a turtle. Get him."
that automatically sets it off, man. Oh yeah, and also on that same day in 90, the House Party soundtrack came out, which is pretty good from what I remember, man. But in 1991, as Rose, let's rewind. In 1991, the Golden Girls are airing the episode Witness. As Rose moves on with her life, Miles' sudden return complicates matters with her new boyfriend.
Yeah, shit's about to get real, Steve. There's a lot happening in this episode from previous episodes, but as always, Rose, she's the lovable buffoon of the group, and I think this is a great episode. It just is another Betty White centric episode where when that's happening, it's gonna be good on this show.
And Sophia, she kind of has a side arc. The main storyline is about Rose, but Sophia, and when you got a dab, even a little bit, a dab of Sophia.
Yeah, and I mean this is really just that. I mean, she has one little thing going on this whole time, which is hilarious. So, we're at the house. Dorothy's trying to figure out what to watch on TV. Sophia comes in, sans glasses. She usually got this very specific kind of glasses, but she's squinting. She's Mr. Magoo in her way over to Dorothy. She's got a set of binoculars too. And basically we find out that she's lost her glasses And instead of, any other maybe spares, she's got to use binoculars to figure it out. This is the only option. She's about to go drive. And Dorothy's like, Mom, you're 100 or whatever. You don't have a license. You don't have glasses. Stop.
Sit your ass down.
And the bitch has her eyesight so bad, she's trying to see Dorothy with the shits. Like, fuck a TV. She's got the shits planted on Dorothy and it's not working. So, Sophia going blind a little bit, but she's old. She's working with it. And then Blanche comes in, and this is another very problematic aspect of this episode that we'll get to more in depth. She's preparing a presentation, Steve. She's got to earn her way into a group that she's really wants to be a part of. That we'll find out more. But it's called the Daughters of the Southern Confederacy, I believe, or something like that.
Daughters of the Losers.
Yeah, and really, these documents she's trying to show off are about her heritage as like proving she's of pure Southern Confederacy heritage, which, call it what you will, Steve. It might not be the KKK, but it's like right there adjacent to the KKK.
It's cousins. They're closely related. They're Eskimo
They definitely
brothers.
have people who are members in both. Let's put it like that. There's like what is that thing called? A Venn diagram where it's circles. There's a very high overlapping thing there,
That's alarming and very problematic.
Yeah.
I didn't know this was a thing and that people actually gave a fuck about these kinds of issues.
Well, I mean, this is old, but this is, I don't, it's stupid. But I know there's people like that. I mean, shit, dude, I live in Virginia, bro. There's people that still rock Confederate flag shits on their car and they're like, this is the real America and shit. It's like, dude, what are you doing, guys? What are you thinking about here?
Sure, loser.
Yeah. And Blanche, she's trying to figure this out. So then Rose comes in and she's talking about this new guy she's got, Carl. Carl seems like a gem, Steve. They're vibing. Carl even knows about this whole Miles situation. Miles is her ex. Miles, he's actually on the run in witness protection because he's being chased by the Cheese Man, I believe.
The Cheese Man.
Who is a criminal mastermind. So Miles out of the picture. He's gone. Rose trying to pick up the pieces has met Carl, and she's really digging him. She thinks about him. She loves that he's cool with the fact that she might still have some feelings about Miles. It's still sort of recent.
But Carl gets it. Like, it's tough, and he understands. And the Cheese Man, like, she didn't even mention how Miles is ratted on somebody named the Cheese Man.
Yeah. And Miles is like, or Carl is, she says something that is basically to the effect that she's having dreams about him. And they're like, oh, okay. And then she's like, and then there's a couple other people in this dream. And they're
Blanche
like, wait, say
like,
more. Who is it? Yeah. And she's like, who is it? Captain Kangaroo, Steve, which I mean, weird. And a couple other people. And really this illustrates that while she is like timid and like a buffoon, she's a freak, Steve. Just like a
freak. She having dreams of getting a train ran on her by Miles, Carl, and Captain Kangaroo.
Yeah, dude. And you're right. Blanche is like, tell me more, darling.
I declare.
Rigi. And, but I got to say, one thing about all this, like, especially with the club, a white supremacist club in Miami, of all places, Steve, just doesn't seem to fit. I don't get that. But then I think we actually cut from this. No, I'm sorry. We cut from this to the kitchen. It's later, and now Blanche and Dorothy still going through the documents for this presentation, and Dorothy is kind of like airing her sort of displeasure at this. She's like, I don't really like the sound of this group you want to be a part of. It sounds really discriminatory because all you can be are people who are direct descendants of people from the Confederate side of the war, which is essentially white people, Steve. I mean, let's call a spade here. We're talking just pure white bread people. And Blanche is like, no, I'm just a Southern belle. She's trying to paint this as good as she can.
I'm a pure Southerner.
Yeah.
Through and through, I declare.
And she's having to sort of map out her family tree. So she gets done with one half and she's like, Dorothy, pass me those documents over there. And Dorothy's sort of looking at him and she's like, oh, sorry, Blanche. I hate to be the one to tell you this. Actually, I love to be the one to tell you this. Because, I mean, Blanche is really just sort of just throwing this shit around too much. And she's
Yeah.
like, turns out, so it looks like one side of your family here isn't, they must have moved a little bit from the south. And she's like, how far? And they're like, Dorothy goes, Buffalo. So she isn't a pure Confederate girl, Steve.
Yeah.
She's
Get your
not.
Thurman Thomas jersey ready.
And turns out there's a little more, bit of a deeper thing here because not only is there a person from Buffalo that married into this Southern family, but their last name is like Feldberg or something. So not only is she's not Southern completely, she's Jewish, Steve.
She's a Feldman. She's cousins with Corey.
Dog in the making, dude. She's fucking doing it. And she can't believe it, Steve. She's like, this can't be true. This can't be. I'm not a Jew. I can't be Jewish. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, NBC. This is their version of pushing the edge, man, or towing the edge.
And basically now, I mean, that's 2 strikes, Steve, for this racist ass group that she's going to. And Dorothy's like, look, I mean, maybe they're just going to be cool with the fact that you're 7/8 Confederate and you just got this one little loose end here. Maybe they'll be cool with it. I don't know.
And we can't overlook Sophia's part in this scene because she's blind. She thinks that Blanche is a black man because she whispers over to Dorothy, who's the black guy?
And also, whenever Blanche says something about being Jewish, she's like, that's crazy. The black guy's prejudiced and just walks out of the.
I'll be damned.
But she does have like some straight blue blocker ass shades on, Steve. Like
she got some lokes
on. And then we cut to the front door, and here we see Rose and Carl. Finally, Carl. I wanted to point out is actually he's a pretty big actor from the '90s. His name's Barney Martin.
Barney Martin, that's Jerry's dad.
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld's dad. But this dude, other than just, I mean, that in and of itself, you're a legend already. But he was also on like Major Dad, Mama's Family, Highway to Heaven, Murder, She Wrote, Murphy Brown, Full House, Life Goes On, and The Wonder Years. This guy was getting paid in the 90s. And he's about to get laid on Golden Girls because he's Carl and he's trying to get it, Steve. And he's like, trying to put the moves on Rose. He's asking her to go away on this vacation and she's hesitant. And he's like, look, is this Miles guy? Like, what's going on? Like, who is this guy? Like, what's going on here? Is he some like thug gangster? Like, yeah, tell me. I just want to know. And Rose is like, I don't, like, it's just not, I'm not ready to talk about it.
I don't know anything about him. I just know he's a professor. You can't be serious. Well, that's the only place they'll teach college.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like wordplay here where he's like, he says something to her. He's like, you know, like, I can't believe that he left you like that. And she's like, wait, he left who? And he's like, you. And he's like, wait, what? And he's like, no, what's on second? And it's like that level of shit. And
I'll call you.
He basically is like, look, think about the vacay. Let's figure this out. And Rose agrees. She's like, let me have a couple of days. I just need to think. And this is a through line that we keep getting in with Rose. She's always about to get some dick. And right before she has to like think about it, whether it's her dead husband she has to get over or Miles, she never wants to accept some new dick into her life easily, Steve. So, you know, Carl's trying to throw it at her hard and seems very concerned, even almost too concerned about this Miles guy, Steve.
Asking too many questions, man. But Rose is dense, so all of this goes over her head and through her head, and they separate. And Miles, shortly thereafter, he runs in looking like Amish paradise. He's sacrificing his life, putting his life on the line for Rose's beautiful tasting pussy, beautiful tasting pussy.
And I mean, he looks Amish, but he also could be mistaken if you're Sophia as a Jewish rabbi. She's like, you know, He sort of talks about how dangerous it is. He's actually explains that he's Amish. He lives on an Amish farm in Pennsylvania. His name's Samuel Plankmaker now. That's his new identity while he's hiding from the cheese man. But he just had to see Rose. He loves her. He just wants to see her, and he did everything he could. He even switched buggies, horse and buggies, to just elude the authorities, elude the cheese man, as it were, Steve.
And he also says that Amish life sucks. And I can relate, man. When we would go on field trips at church or even school a couple times in grade school, we would go all the way out to Amish country. And oh my God, that shit was horrendous, man. Like, I just remember being a kid looking at this like, damn, where y'all toys at? This is how y'all live? I'll be waiting in the van.
Shit. I mean, the Amish, like, there's people called Mennonites where I live now that are sort of like light Amish. They use electricity and shit, but they look like Amish people. Yeah, exactly. But Amish people can cook like a motherfucker, but you ain't gonna want to hang out. And he doesn't want to. But another funny thing happens here where now this is happening with Rose and Miles and everybody. Dorothy and Blanche walk in, and Blanche is like, sees this dude that looks like a rabbi. He's like, Jesus Christ! You find out you're Jewish, and all of a sudden rabbis are coming out of the woodwork at you. So, this newfound Judaism is really just kind of getting on her nerves, Steve. And she thinks a rabbi is just ready at the stake just to get her in, new blood.
And Rose introduces him to the girls, and she's like, girls, you know him. His name is Samuel Plankmaker. Girls, Miles.
And Miles finally just like, he's like, look, okay, yeah, she's an idiot. She blew it. It's Miles, guys. It's me. And, Blanche ain't really, she's not about this shit because she's like, what the things that this cheese man would do to us just to get at Miles. I can only imagine what he would do to me specifically sexually just to get at Miles. She's concerned, Steve, because this cheese man, who knows what he's capable of. I don't even know why he's called the cheese man, really. What's the story there?
Come together with your plan. Cheese man.
Cheese man.
Feel the
Save me.
And Dorothy says, is it Dorothy? Yeah, she says no gangster is ever going to come here. And you got to be happy. Miles is back. And Rose is like, how am I supposed to be happy when Miles won't let me move on? I'm trying to heal my heart. And he's not even going to be here permanently. He's in witness protection. So he's only going to be here for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, and even though Miles is like all in, he's like, look, I love you. He's saying all the right shit, but she's conflicted. We cut now to the initiation ceremony, Steve. We've moved fully into the KKK ceremony, and that's what's happening here. We finally get to see it. There's people in Confederate soldier regalia at this fucking shit. Hopefully at the end of this, it's an Inglourious Bastards thing where somebody gets a flamethrower out and just starts scorching the earth. So they come. Blanche brings everybody, and if I'm one of the friends, I don't give a fuck how close we are. I'm not going to your fucking podunk ass Peckerwood fucking weird white supremacist shit. I'm not going to this. But she brings the whole clan, including Carl, Steve. New blood's getting the move, even though Miles is there. But he doesn't know Miles is there. Carl's here. He's part of the squad. We get down, and he excuses himself. He's old. He's got to take a piss every 5 minutes. So he leaves, and we follow him, Steve. He gets on the phone, and we find out this ain't Carl, Steve, unless Carl's middle name is Cheese Man. Because
Moran the Cheese Man.
Oh, no. And he gets he calls in like that little hit thing where he's like, look, I need a passport. I need some money. I'm about to just fucking brick this dude and I'll be out. So I found him. We're good.
I think she's going to spill the beans.
Yeah. But Rose, nobody knows, Steve. The cheese man's good. Oh, he's good.
Yeah, because Carl comes back. He's like, yeah, my mother's doing fine.
So what's going on here? Hey, anyway, Miles? What about that Miles guy? Remember him? Where's he at?
I like these finger foods.
Yeah. And oh man, my shoulder hurts. Man, I was thinking about that Miles dude though. What's he all about?
yeah. Back to that Miles guy.
You know?
Yeah, Daughters of the Losers. That's great. But what about Miles though?
Yeah. I mean, fucking, it's crazy. It's crazy. Blanche is Jewish and all, but like Miles, was he Jewish? Sounds kind of Jewish. Anywho,
And
Miles. So there's a lot of
and
talk about Miles, but Rose isn't really spilling the beans just yet. So, you know, Carl's on the hunt. Blanche is getting ready. The ceremony starts, and one person goes in front of Blanche, and she's going through her lineage, and she's the descendant of a southern gentleman by the name of Claude LeBeau or some shit like that.
live or die.
Yeah. And she sounds like the real deal, Steve. Like, I'm ready to just hand over the KKK membership card, but then some lady stands up in the back and is like, I heard that man dealt with the fucking Yankees back in the day. So tar and feather this bitch and get her the fuck out of here with her bullshit.
Did you say live or die? He once sold horseshoes to a Union soldier.
I mean, and so it's not looking good. So now Blanche is really shitting a brick because she's like, well, shit, I got fucking feld dog blood in me. What are these people going to say?
Because plan A was to lie. She was like, well, they just don't have to know that you're Jewish. We'll just say, she was born in Florida.
Yeah. Feldman can also be I don't know. I don't know what a southern name would be that you could change into,
Fella.
but she's going through it. She gets up there. She starts talking and she's like trying to sort of veer away from the whole family tree thing. She's like, maybe I can just like start telling a couple jokes. I'll get him on my side and they're going to forget about this whole family tree thing. Like,
oh man, the South is great. I love the South, man. I say like pecans too, don't you? Don't y'all? Don't y'all?
Yeah.
Y'all, right?
She basically does
Y'all
what
say
stand-up
y'all.
comedian, like people that like the shitty ones are like,
When they're dying.
Miami, what's up? Miami's crazy, right?
Man, it's
Yeah,
crazy out here, y'all.
shit.
Give it up for the
Miami.
ladies.
Fucking,
Yeah, it's
you know what's
crazy,
great
man.
about Miami? All those fly ass honeys out there, ladies. So,
Should be crazy, right? They all fine. Like, yeah.
and Blanche, you know, she's trying, but eventually she just sort of stalls and is like, has to sort of say something. So she's like, you know, does it really matter? Like, the family tree thing. Let's just move past that. Let me just tell you about what I think about the South and what I love about the South. And the lady's like, hard stop. No, fuck that. No, you're telling us about the family tree. Get to it, chick.
Yeah, we want to know about your racist family.
Yeah.
Magnolias, right?
So, basically she just spills the beans and she's like, look, you know what? Fuck it. I have a Jewish person that is in my heritage from Buffalo. I'm not fully Southern, but please. Oh no. And she just loses all of her dignity, Steve, just begging to be part of the White Nationalist Society or whatever this is called.
She felt her tits sag from all of that begging. Keith Sweat
God.
bleeding. And then she was just like, you know what? Fuck all this shit. You know what? I'm a Feldman. My people were Feldmans. I'm a Jew. Some of my people are Yankees. And one of the ladies fucking faints. This is, I feel, yeah, y'all are testing the waters, NBC.
Yeah.
It was that bad that the debutante, oh God,
Oh, my Lord. So
she basically said, fuck your club, you're racist, you inbreeding fucks.
you Meshuggah. She throws a little Jewish throwing in, you know, she's like, I'm verklempt over here. I'm schwitzing over here with all this nonsense.
As
And,
my Jewish buddy John Kanik would say, mazel.
Exactly. She mazel tovs her way out, has a bagel and some lox, calls it a day, and we go back to the house again, Steve. And
But I want to say Dorothy. I don't want to skip over that, bro. Dorothy with the slow clap. She was there for her dog, and this is one of the reasons why I fuck with Dorothy. She was a real one. She told her like, man, these people are racist fucks. And then like, shit, I don't care if we get jumped. Shit, yeah.
Oh yeah,
And that's
she has B. Arthur has a bunch of bangers in this one too, because she gets her mom a couple of times. She throws it at Blanche a couple of times, and I mean, B. Arthur's timing is fucking incredible.
She caught a Roy Orbison when she had those loafs on. Ladies and gentlemen, Roy Orbison.
She's like, and her mom says something at the beginning. She's like, yeah, it's off. Like, something's off. And she's like, yeah, I guess that's a diagnosis or something
That's the
like that about her
diagnosis.
being
Yeah,
crazy.
that's
So,
that's the prognosis. And we get back to the home, and Blanche is like, those small-minded Peckerwoods aren't real Southerners, I declare.
yeah. And Miles basically hears something about Carl. And he's like, wait, you're seeing another guy? And his, in the feelings about that, but he's like, I get it. Like I wasn't around. And then while he's sort of pledging his love to Rose in front of everybody, in comes Carl, or as he's now telling everybody, the cheese man.
Scram if you can. It's Moran the Cheese Man.
Click, click, boom. Because he's got a gat, Steve. He's
He
ready to
pulls out-
shoot that shit.
Fresh out the bathroom with the Thule, ready to go, locked and loaded. That
Like
motherfucker
Michael
came out
Corleone,
with
dude.
it.
He had that shit just fucking in the fucking bowls, Steve, ready to go. Like any
Ready to
criminal
go.
should, honestly.
But here's my thing, Matt. This motherfucker was getting away with murder. Like, how long, like, was he getting away? Like, Jerry's dad, bro. Just Seinfeld's daddy. He got away. Like, he was the threat. He was on America's Most Wanted 6 times. This guy?
The cheese man, dude. Because
Jerry's pops.
you never suspected. This is what I always say, not about killing, but when I get old, if I ever make it to an age where I look like an old man, I'm never paying for anything in a grocery store ever again. I'm just walking out because you can always plead ignorance, Steve. You can always be the sweet old person, and then just like Carl the Cheese Man or Morton the Cheese Man, you can pull a gat out, blast a couple of people, and walk away and be like, wait, what? Where are my shoes? And they're like, Jesus, this guy's fucking just got dementiaed the fuck out. I don't know.
Yeah. Where am I? Who
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. As far as that goes, when we're 80 years old, Steve, steal all the groceries. Steal all that shit. You don't ever need to pay for a steak ever again. Just plead ignorance. That's what I do. And so now everybody's hostage. Cheese Man's here. The jig is up. And even though there is a gun pulled, the man has said he's the cheese man. Miles has to continue to point out to Rose, who is not putting two and two together, that that's the cheese man, bitch.
Cheese man.
Come together with your gun. Blast us. Cheese man's gonna bust.
Jerry's dad.
It is weird. It is a weird visual because it is Jerry's dad, dude. He's just a fucking sweet old man.
This guy's getting
I'm
away
going
with
to
murder?
Florida, okay? And he's in Florida, Steve. Maybe we're not putting two and two together. Maybe this is Jerry's dad. Fuck.
Like, who are the police? Wiggums? Is a bunch of Wiggums?
And then he's like, look, all you dumb fucking broads, just hold up here. And then the doorbell rings. And he's like, oh, shit. And Sophia walks in, still no glasses. And we sort of overlooked a character who made a quick appearance. This lady cop showed up at the beginning of the episode because Sophia called into the cops about her lost glasses. Right. So this lady shows up looking like she's Paula Poundstone's assistant, like a pink fucking business suit. Yeah. And then the doorbell rings now later in the episode, and Sophia, still sans glasses, ignores the gun being pointed, even moves it aside because the guy's like, stop moving. And she's like, that's nice to talking to your mother like that, honey. And she just pulls the fucking stop or my mom will shoot move and just pushes the gun aside, answers the door. And it's this lady cop again, Steve, who so committed to crime in Miami, she brings glasses to an old lady, Steve.
Yeah. Katie Couric, man, she's doing the people's work. And she brings her glasses, and the cheese man, scram if you can, he brings Katie Couric in there. He's like, you know what? You're joining the party too. Here's a gun in your face.
And she's like, well, fuck. And somebody's like, yeah, she's a cop. Like, arrest him. She's like, I'm a cop without a gun or a badge, bitch. So they're all hostage. And this, this is great. This is a great way to end something that could be very complicated on the page, Steve. This lady cop's like, I don't have a gun. Cheese man, the criminal he is, he doesn't check that she has a gun, even though she's a cop, and he knows that she's a cop. And he's like, look, You dingbat broads, get in the fucking closet. Me and Miles are gonna go on a little drive, and I'm gonna tell him a couple of tales with this gun. And then fucking the cop chick is just like, yoink, do have a gun, you're under arrest. And that's all it
She's
takes,
good.
Steve. Nice.
Katie Kirk of criminology, man. She pulled that one off.
She's smoking
Straight
a
up.
cigarette at the precinct. They're like, "How'd you do it, Jenkins? How'd you fucking pull one over on the cheese man?" And she's like, "He never checked if I had a gun, the dumb fuck." You know, I mean, it's really just a shitty. It's an oversight on Cheese Man. You know, he could have blasted all these old women and just been on his way, but I don't know. Maybe he had a heart, Steve.
She had a gun, but she didn't have handcuffs. And so she's like, I need handcuffs. And everyone turns to Blanche.
She's like, "I guess you can borrow mine, but they're fancy, so bring them back." And there's a stain on them. Disregard that.
Some lipstick smudges.
But now, Steve, this is dream scenario for Rose because the loser's been lost. Carl isn't even Carl. Cheese Man, he's out of the picture. So Miles, he doesn't have to hide. Cheese Man's gonna go away, and now him and fucking Rose can just have hot fuck sessions without any care in the world. They don't have to worry anymore. Fuck a witness protection.
Miles can walk these streets. They could probably fuck in these streets too, man. I'm sure they got some nudie weirdo shit for like 70-year-olds down there in Miami or surrounding.
Isn't that the
region.
thing though? Like in nursing homes, that's where like STDs are just rampant in those places because old people just want to bang in their old age, and I get that. It's kind of gross to think about, but if I'm old and I like am alone, I would hope that you could just have nonstop fuck sessions when you have nothing else to do in life. Even if it's kind of
yeah.
gross and like the skin's not, you know, all there, still. Miles and Rose, they're gonna bump uglies. And Rose is like, "Please, Miles, just promise me that you're not gonna go anywhere anymore. You're not gonna leave me." And Miles is like, "Look, you know, I there's just this one thing I gotta do. I have an order of some Amish stuff back in my Amish life. Big order I gotta fulfill." And then he's like, "Wait, you know what? I don't fuck it. What are they gonna do? Call me? Dumb fucks."
Man, send a telegram.
Dumb fuck. So, Mr. Plank Man or whatever the fuck, he's no more. Miles, Rose, they're gonna continue this love affair, and we'll see where it goes, Steve. But you know,
It's Mr. Nasty Time.
Froggy style, while his legs and hips still can take it.
Yeah, my meds came in today, Rose. In 1993, Lenny Kravitz releases "Are You Gonna Come My Way?"
Beautiful
Oh,
tasting
man.
pussy. Beautiful tasting pussy.
Pussy.
I mean, this guy is we're just talking about Coxman this episode because here's another one, Steve. And this guy, I mean, I don't even know all the people he was banging, but I'll tell you this guy was prolific in and out of the bedroom. I remember at one point too, like this guy's dick busted out of his pants on stage, and I'm sure all the ladies in that concert busted in their pants. So
The fact that you pulled Lisa Bonet, sir, I applaud you.
yeah,
Like you
dude.
pulled the my favorite Huxtable and a lot of people's favorite Huxtable, and like one of the pop cultural icons, fashion icons of the 80s.
And it really
And
what amped you up too, because like this album and like this song and like some of those bangers he came out with, they were fucking straight up hits, dude. You couldn't deny it, you know?
this whole album bangs, man. I was just listening to it. It starts off with this song, "Are You Gonna Go My Way?" And everything after that, man, is hard rocking, it's grooving, it's funky. And Lenny Kravitz, I feel, is the closest thing to Jimi Hendrix alive. Unless I'm proven otherwise, man. I feel like he's the closest that we'll ever get, man. And
Dude was a
dude,
beast. And also just the style. He's got like a Johnny Depp style where it's like scarves, it's like billowy shirts. It's
that
interesting.
rock star shit.
It's sexy rock star guy, and he pulls it off. And he's older now. I mean, obviously, and you never know. Dude's still pulling tails, still fucking rocking it. So shout out Lenny, dude.
I gotta say, man, if Lenny Kravitz were to take my girlfriend, I would take that as a compliment.
Yeah, I guess. I feel like what I'd like more in a situation where I'm like Eskimo brothers with him, I'd rather fuck somebody that fucked him and just like feel like maybe I stacked up a little bit to whatever he did to the chick. You know, like maybe I didn't rock her like Lenny did, but if she's just like, man, that one thing you did though, Lenny can never do that. So just to get something like that, I feel like that'd be nice.
I'm gonna be a realist.
Yeah. I
If
mean,
if
Kendra
Lenny
would fuck,
fucked
I don't
her,
know. I don't think Kendra would
if
fuck Lenny Kravitz though.
if Lenny fucked her, I ain't got a shot. I'm just gonna be all the way real.
Really? I
That's
feel like we're charming though, Steve. There's some Lenny, I feel like it's maybe there's some substance there, but I feel like he's got an energy where it's like a lot of like it's just like vague, like crystally language, like that LA shit where it's just like talking about like spirituality and stuff and like how it makes you feel. Like it's almost like love's flowing through me and shit. You know, it's like
oh
that
my
kind of shit.
god, you're like deep and hot. That's so
Jesus, oh
hot.
my God, Lenny, what did you just say? It's just
Oh
like
my
your
god.
vagina and my dick are just like connected, just like the earth. And they just
Oh
need to
my god.
connect together.
That's super cute. Hold on. Beep,
Yeah.
beep, 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 beep. Now, in 1994, March 9th, Four Weddings and a Funeral premieres. Over the course of 5 social occasions, a committed bachelor must consider the notion that he may have discovered love. Directed by Dumbass Son of a Bitch, starring Harry Dick Sandwich.
Yeah, and I know this, like, I can see somewhat, like, vaguely the cover, and I'm not into it, Steve. Oh, that's why. Hugh Grant. Tally ho. Can I touch your vagina?
Oh my god. Oh my god, you're so shy and charming, and I'm cute. No.
Your minge is exquisite, darling. Let me see your minge. I'm gonna come. Oh, you're gonna come, Hugh.
I
It's
need to have this in
disgusting.
my will. When I die, no one is allowed to watch 4 Weddings and a Funeral 50 miles from the vicinity of my gravesite.
I mean, get out of here, Hugh. But we didn't watch this, Steve.
Respect my
Be
gangsterdom.
gone.
And in 1995, baseball awards a franchise to Tampa Bay, Florida, and where they would be named the Devil Rays. I'll tell you what, look at this ugly ass. Yeah, it fits them. It was better for them to change this because this looks so Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like something that's on the side of a pickup truck. It's stupid. But Tampa, not great, Steve. Not a great place. There's a lot of I. It's some place where I would assume like that shit Blanche went to. A lot of that going on there.
Yeah, Tampa Bay, Florida has a partnership with AutoZone. I feel
And
that's
cocaine. It's right hand in hand. There's a lot of white trash doing blow in that town, from what I remember. So enjoy that.
get the zone. In 1996, George Burns, American comedian, actor, and writer, passes away at the age of 100. He was born in 1896 in New York City, man.
I mean, the man played God, Steve, and appropriately. This guy was just a
Smoking
legend. Just one of
Roku
those guys. This one of these
cigars.
guys that just didn't give a fuck. He did what he wanted. He smoked fucking bats and everything he did. I don't think he was allowed to act without a fucking stogie in his fucking mouth. And
Man,
that's par for the course. George Burns, probably also a guy. I would love to see what he looked like when he was young. He's probably fucking plowing through Hollywood, and he was there when it was like crazy.
he was a stud. He had his own show, but I think he had a main. I don't know if he was loyal. I don't know. It was a different
Yeah.
time. But his partner Gracie, it was is the Burns and Allen show. Gracie Allen.
George Burns, dude. I just remember that. Like I think it's called what is the movie? It's called God or
God,
Hi
yeah.
God or something like that. But I remember that. It was like one of those movies they played a lot, you know. Legend, dude.
So, man, Bankhead bounce for the legend, man. And that following year, March 9th, 1997, the Notorious B.I.G., the American rapper, songwriter, and actor, passes away after being shot dead while sitting in the passenger seat of a car after a post-Soul Train Awards party in Los Angeles, California. Yeah.
Steve Harvey just couldn't get that message out quick enough. You know, he had that little tete-a-tete with Snoop and Puff, and then the next week, just tragedy.
It was, yeah, clearly they didn't watch that episode. It was just 2 weeks ago. Steve
Damn,
Harvey tried.
y'all. they didn't have WB, Steve, or UPN or whatever the shit was on. You know, it was just they didn't get the message.
It was the dubs, man. Do you remember where you were when you were or where you were the when you found out Biggie passed?
What year was this? You said 97.
97.
So we're 14. We are in high school. I do remember
About
talking
to
about
be.
this.
Oh yeah, we're 14. Yeah.
I remember talking about this in high school. I believe I was just like at home, you know, probably rocking some N64, playing some GoldenEye with some buds, maybe. And yeah, I remember hearing Kurt Loder talk about it. One of those MTV News updates or some shit. I think that's how I found out.
Yeah.
I remember
Man.
immediately though, this one chick, I don't remember what her name was, but there was like this one tall, like sort of she wasn't like a Sarah plain and tall white chick, but it was somebody who I didn't expect. And I just remember being like, man, I didn't expect this chick to say this. We had some like discussion about it in English class, I believe. And she, at that time, when I don't really remember people talking about it, was like, yeah, I don't think Tupac or Biggie is actually dead. She was like already like making conspiracy theories about that shit. I was like, that's wild. This little white chick just has these weird theories, but she was out there just like fucking QAnon and that shit in Perrysburg High School, Steve.
Yeah, she's got her finger on the pulse, right? I'm sure she did. Like they all did.
Alive, motherfucker.
All the way from Perrysburg.
Yep.
In 1998, American football running back Najee Harris, your boy, is born in Martinez, California.
Dude's a beast. I can't wait to see what he does with this team. With my team, the Steelers. But he's already had some nice highlights. And shout out to Najee Harris, who's like one of the young guys on the Steelers who I think are actually gonna build them up to something awesome again. It's been a while, so let's see what happens. But I don't know. I don't know if you clock him too much as a Cowboys fan, Steve, but he's beast moded a couple motherfuckers, I'll tell you.
Man, I can hardly keep up with my Cowboys these days.
Yeah, I get it.
But this time around, my friend, do you have any callbacks, takeaways, pump fake fadeaways?
I just want to give a quick rest in peace to a 90s legend, somebody we've watched in many movies. Tom Sizemore just died, Steve.
Yeah, I did see that.
Sad. I mean, this guy has had a really troubled life, but in the 90s, I mean, this dude was in Natural Born Killers, Scagnetti. He was in True Romance, a movie you and I both love as well. He was in Saving Private Ryan. An episode of It's Always Sunny that was hilarious, where he played a truck driver that wanted to get fucking skewered like Swiss cheese. And Tom Sizemore, dude, just a legend, a guy who played a creep really fucking well, you know? And
he did. Scagnetti, man. Pretty slimy.
Always just a guy who is just doing something really creepy with a chick, trying to kill a guy. I think his best role probably and the most like palatable was Saving Private Ryan. And he was so fucking good in that, dude. So, dude's a legend. Rest in peace, man. Sucks he's dead, but you know, hopefully he's at peace. Shout out to a 90s ledge. So Tom Sizemore. Man. Rest in peace, bud. What about you?
Man, Home Improvement in 1994. They're airing the episode "The Eve of Construction," and I'm only mentioning that because of the cameos. It had Evander Holyfield, it had John Elway, a few other NFL stars, and Jimmy fucking Carter, the Peanut Man himself.
Jimmy, dude, I was talking about him with Kendra. I was like, people don't really clock. I think he's almost touted as like one of those people like Dan Quayle that was kind of like just sort of a buffoon. But this guy he's a legit nice guy. And as somebody who loves Hunter S. Thompson, a dude who hated politicians, respected Jimmy Carter, and said he gave one of the greatest political speeches. It was called the Law Day speech. He gave this speech, I think it was in the 80s, to a huge group of lawyers, and basically told all of them how big of pieces of shit that they were for manipulating law and creating like loopholes in law. They were like, you guys are just fucking up the system. And he held their feet to the fire. So Jimmy Carter, dude, that being a president, being a peanut farmer, and doing Habitat for Humanity even now as an old ass dude, just giving
In
it
his
up.
90s.
So
Yeah,
I love
man.
it, dude. Jimmy Carter, cheers to you, dude. You're one of the few politicians I actually like.
Yeah, man. One of the few who gave a damn, man. So I give you a salute, man. And also in 95, Martin is there in the episode High Noon. And that's the one that has a cameo appearance from Gary Coleman. He plays Mad Dog No Good, and he got
Oh yeah.
released from prison. And Martin was responsible for putting him there. And
Wait,
now
man,
that
no,
he's
no
free,
good's out. Hell yeah, dude. The barbershop clears out.
I remember at some point one of the old guys was like, man, I don't see what the big deal is. Why is everybody scared of a sad dog? Not sad dog, man. Mad dog, no good. Mad dog,
Man,
no good.
dog.
So, and Bankhead bounce for Gary Coleman, R.I.P. too, man. But please like, share, subscribe, and comment, and ask your sister, is she gonna come my way? And please check out Crushgasm on Wednesdays. B3F podcast with Joey and Steve. And don't worry, B movie with Amanda and Wade. This is Steve G and Matt G with Happened in the 90s.
We's a little juice. No, we sing the juice.